fine, but I'm tracking my hours. Anyway, they get into the NBA free agency, whose job it is to make baseball players famous, and the powerful winners of the Arthur Ashe Award. All that and more this week on Just Press Play.
How many losing seasons does Tom Brady have to have before you can fire him?
Well, he's got to have one. He's about to win the MVP.
Yeah, he's great. But I'm just saying, like,
it's not an unnecessary roughness. It was a completely necessary roughness. I mean,
that's a good point.
The man rushed for 170 yards is what he got credit for, but he walked and ran a total of like 300 yards. Give the man a ride. Good God.
As soon as it came out of my face, I knew how dumb that was.
All right, so here we are. We're back with the full episode, guys. I don't know. I want to say I don't want to say we've made it, but we have a heckler, guys. I mean, someone hates us. No, you're not doing something until someone hates you.
Yes,
and we have someone that doesn't seem to like us.
Yes.
I don't even know. At first, I was kind of like, how do you respond to that? I mean, like, oh, okay, I'm sorry you don't like us. And Tammy was like, oh, hell no, y'all made it. You got a heckler. Yes. I thought it was so cool.
Because what he just said, get out of here with this BS. Is that what he said?
That's exactly what he said.
Get out of here with BS.
Yeah. Oh, man, that made me so happy.
I did take a gander at his page, and it does seem as if maybe we should, if we wanted to please him, maybe a little more Denny Hamlin talk and a little more NASCAR would maybe.
But specifically Denny Hamlin, like no joke. That's the only thing this guy cares about.
Where did you get the NASCAR? Because I saw JP.
You just click on his profile on that.
It's all
on his
NASCAR.
comment.
And it was everywhere.
It's all he everything is like what the number 11 FedEx truck or something like that, or car. And yeah.
But I can't remember his name. And if you didn't like that episode, what I would advise to him to do now is to go ahead and subscribe and download every episode. And if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it, but I would go ahead and subscribe if I were him. I think that's a logical
thing. I dare you. I double dog dare you.
If he can prove that he's subscribed, then I think we'll have a Denny Hamlin segment at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, we will. And you know, it sounds like it's kind of the perfect thing. We've set the bar low with them, so we're only going up from here. I mean, that's the way I like to do it, just in life in general. I like to, set the bar low, and then you can always improve.
That's what I tell people. The beauty of the Southern accent is that when people listen to you, they think they're a little dumb, aren't they? And then you can be as smart as you are, and it's a step above what they think you're going to be. So
even if I'm just like moderately smart, it's smarter than that person thought I was going to be.
Exactly.
So there we go.
Exactly.
I was thinking of the old Gin Blossoms line: "If you don't expect too much, you might not be disappointed." Or what is? How does it go? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
You might not be let down. Yeah. Sorry. If you don't expect too much, you might not be let down. Sorry for the delay, guys. That's the BS we got to get out of here with. Okay. Got it.
All right. So a lot's going on in the sporting world. So, and just in the world in general. So let's go ahead and jump right into it.
All right.
Dad, what do you got? What do you got for your best of the week? You got anything good?
Well, I mean, my best and worst, I think, is something we're going to talk about it. And it's a little bit, it's not fun and exciting, but I think it will be more the Larry Nassar, Arthur Ashe thing. So
yeah, what happened at the ESPYs?
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. So I'll say that was kind of both my best and worst, and so I'll just leave it at that. Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so we'll get into it. I kind of do want to dive into it a little bit, but you're referring to how for the ESPYs, instead of they usually give an Arthur Ashe Courage Award to one person in the sporting world, and they gave it to 141 victims of Larry Nassar. And it was a really powerful moment when Allie Raisman, we'll get into it deeper, but yeah, that was really, really powerful. That was
powerful. Yeah. Powerful. Yeah. So,
LJ, what do you got? What do you got for your best?
So you remember I complained about debit cards a few weeks back, right?
The chip and all the.
Jewel Osco, the grocery store right next to us, has changed their system to where now I just put it in and take it out. And instead of waiting the whole 10 seconds or whatever for it to read my card and stuff, it reads it instantly. And then it does like slow work on the computer. And it's a silly little thing, but like it's so much less frustrating. Like
so you don't have to get yelled at by the machine.
Well, yeah, it just like you put it in there, it goes, all right, we're good. And you pull it back out, and then you let the computers do their talking without you having to wait to do your last step or whatever. Like, it just saves me just a little bit of grief. It's been a long week, so that's the best I got.
Well, it's the little things.
That technology has not made it to Texarkana yet, but
That's some Chi-town.
No, I still don't understand how we've had these chips now for a while now, and I don't want to get into this. We've done this before, but we still when I go to when I go to the store though, it has a chip spot and a slide spot, and I still don't know which one I need to use, and it doesn't seem like the clerk necessarily knows which one I need to use. Like I think if you have the chip, maybe use the chip, but maybe slide it, and we should have figured this out by now. We're smarter than this.
Yeah. The chip is actually old. Well, yeah, never mind. Let's move on.
Enough said.
All right, guys, I want to bring you to my best of the week. It's a video I just sent you.
Okay.
So it's almost a best and worst type of thing because it's what if you're a grown person at a baseball game. It was a Sunday afternoon at the Cubs game, the Cubs Cardinals, and it was a moment where the first base coach was going to go give the ball to the little kid. There's a little kid looking for the ball, and he kind of tossed it to him. And I want y'all to just watch the video and tell me what y'all think.
No way.
Oh, what a dick. What a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
So for those, and we'll have it on the show notes, but for those who didn't, what y'all just watched, what the coach goes over and tosses the ball, and it like kind of goes to the ground. And the grown man, not only does he like rush to grab it, but then as he like hands it over to his wife, they like laugh about how they got the ball from a little child.
Oh man.
It's the worst. Like that is the worst person.
Yeah. That's
like we talk about.
He's like, look what I did, baby. Look what I got for you. I stole this from a little kid to give to you. I mean,
yeah.
Like we talk about the worst at a pickup game, and that is the absolute worst at a baseball game.
A sporting event. Yeah.
I understand. I think I can be 40 years. There's something like one of the coolest things about going to a baseball game is like the chance at getting a foul ball. Even when I can be 50 years old, and it'll be cool. I'll try to catch it, but there's no time where you should rush to beat a child for the ball. Now, if you catch it, honestly, I think you should maybe give it to a kid close to you. But if you don't, that's fine. I get that.
If I caught a foul ball and handed it to Hannah, I think that would impress her. If I caught a foul ball and handed it to a little kid, I think that'd impress her even more. Like I think that would be a huge winning move.
I have something to say about little kids. I mean, I'm all for little kids, but there is one time that I'll run over a little kid or a pregnant lady. And that is if a red wasp is after me. If a red wasp is after me, pregnant ladies and little kids better get the hell out of the way because I am running. I'm like Forrest Gump, dude. I am running. So I'm just letting you be forewarned.
Well, let's say there's not a red wasp and we're at the Rangers game and a ball comes to you. If you catch the ball, are you giving it to the kid or are you going to keep it? And that's one question. And then the other question, if a loose ball is on the ground and you and a kid are going for it, surely you would have the decency to pull up, let the kid go.
Oh, hell no. I'm stop, dropping, and rolling. I'm getting that ball. And then I'm going to be magnanimous and give it to the little kid.
Right, because you want to have that moment where you actually hand it to him. Because otherwise it was all for naught. Nobody knows how great you are if you just step away.
Exactly. I'm going to get all horizontal going for it and everything and then give it to the little kid. Unless a red wasp is around, in which case.
Pregnant women and kids, get out the way.
I'm just being honest. I'm telling you.
Well, the reason that is actually my best, though, is what the Cubs made it right. And there's another picture right after that where the Cubs, not only did they give him a foul ball, but they got him 2 foul balls, one of them signed by first baseman Javi Baez. So, the little kid has this cute-ass little picture where he has a Cubs hat that's too big for him, and he's holding both balls and has a big old smile from ear to ear. We'll put it in the show notes. But the Cubs made it right. But that guy's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't disagree.
I agree with that.
All right. I guess I have 2 worst a little bit because I'm going to go ahead and go to my other worst. And it's when you ever an older show that there's all like everybody has that feel like the show they always can go back to on Netflix, whether it be The Office or something where you just, something where you can just go turn it on. Maybe you're not quite ready to go to sleep, but you want to kind of watch something as you mellow out, but you don't want to get deep into something. Well, the other day I went to go watch the show Scrubs. I was thinking about it. Something made me just go, I kind of want to watch Scrubs. Yeah. And there's nothing worse than when you've already sat here, like at work, I sat here and thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home and I'm just going to mellow out, watch some Scrubs. And it's no longer on Netflix.
Dude.
And heart broke in half. Like I was just like, oh, well, And nothing else could satiate the thirst that I had for Scrubs. I wanted to watch that. That's what I.
Oh, totally. I totally get that. We, Hannah and I, we like to, we were in the middle of watching My Name is Earl. Like we were just, we watch it every couple of years or whatever. And, so we were about halfway through the series and they pulled it off Netflix without any warning while we were in the middle of watching a complete watch through of it. It was
that's
awful.
tough.
It was tragic.
That might be even tougher.
And then in that same week, so we thought, okay, so what'll we watch instead of 30 Rock? Or instead of, well, spoiler alert, what'll we watch instead of My Name is Earl? And we thought 30 Rock, and 30 Rock wasn't on Netflix anymore as of that day.
And then all of a sudden you're just in a terrible
like
spin, and it's just like, what? And then you have to like settle into, like, even I think the night I end up watching The Office, which I love The Office, but I already knew what I wanted to see.
I just watched The Office. Yeah. Oh, totally. I totally hear you.
It's pretty bad too. Well, see, you actually, I didn't have it go when it was just I was mid season. You know, I just was going to jump into season 3. Like I already kind of had an idea where I wanted to go. But also there's been a night where like I wanted to go watch a movie and they'll just randomly, like I thought I want to watch a movie that I've seen 100 times. Like I know it, I can fall asleep to it or I can watch it, whatever. And I was going to throw Talladega Nights on and all of a sudden it was just gone. Yeah. And it's just like, man, it's just, the worst is when all of a sudden the show's gone from Netflix when we're expecting it to be there. But
Always Sunny, hint, hint.
Yeah, that one. I'm just dreading the day when it happens with The Office. They've already done it with Always Sunny and Scrubs now. Broke my heart. When they do it with the rest of Development in The Office, then I think
they're going to pick up a Netflix original season of The Office, and so it'll never leave. That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm. Dad, what do you have a worst for the week? You kind of mentioned you were making both that a little bit of your best and worst. Did you have anything else or?
No, I mean, no. I
was going to mention you've had a little more time on this earth, Dad. So maybe but
it's a nice way of saying you're old, but okay.
But no. Okay. So this weekend it was a great weekend. Came in and saw a bunch of the friends and stuff. We hung out, but also on Saturday I gave the offer to Ryan and Ashton are moving from one house to another, and you know, I've been moving before, and there's been you and Keith helped me out, and Nancy and Tammy, and I didn't like make y'all help me. Y'all offered to, and it was very helpful. Like you don't realize how much you're going to need help moving until you start doing it, and it's just a pain in the ass. And I think there's I've kind of just realized there's a moving karma where like Ryan and Ashton didn't help me the first time, but I need to go ahead and if I have a friend that's about to move, I'm going to go ahead and help them because there's going to be a time, you know, in the next year or something where I'm going to need to move. And it might not be Ryan and Ashton or it might not be you, but someone else. It's just like that rolling karma comes. And if I would have not showed up to help them move, I feel like next time I had to move, no one would have been there to help me. And moving just sucks.
It does. But I think, you know, I always enjoyed, if you get down to it, I always enjoyed helping a buddy move because usually they buy you beer and pizza and you hang out, you know, you move some heavy stuff. You know, it's
that's exactly what we did. Right after we got done, we went and got pizza and beer. Like we hung out.
So here's what I'm wondering: can you move without pizza and beer? Maybe you just flat out cannot move without having pizza and beer.
I've had some broke months. Yeah, you can. You can. You just the only person you get to help you is Andrew, but.
You didn't buy him a pizza and a beer?
Happen. Well, it's gone both ways, so.
Okay. A shot of Malort, at least, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll do a shot of Malort. Yeah, for sure. We've always got a shot of Malort sitting by. And that is the official.
Hey, that's one of the dangers of having a truck, Kevin. I'm just going to tell you. If you have a truck, you get asked to help move. That's just.
Well, and the thing was, I asked them, I was like, hey, Ryan did not ask me to help him move. I was just like, hey, Ryan, do you need some help? And he's like, well, actually, if you don't mind, we could probably use it. And we got it done. We got it done probably 2 hours quicker than they would have by themselves. So it was all good. And then we all went swimming and we got pizza and beer. You know, it's a good time. But
you just want to be the friend that you want to have. So that's always a good move.
Yeah, and you don't want to be like I'm going to go ahead and give him a Lane. Lane was the friend that showed up, didn't help move like one box, and then was like, guys, I got a tea time at 1:30. And left. Needless to say, they didn't get Lane pizza or beer, but he was just moral support. Anyway, so let's get on. Now we've gotten through.
I don't get a worst this week.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah. Well, LJ, what do you got for your worst? I was just really excited about it. That's why I hit the air horn.
Well, my worst this week is Hannah's been sick and so she got strep throat from working with kids, and so that sucks. She like had a night.
Is strep throat like sore throat?
It's like the bad sore throat.
Yeah, it's like a really serious sore throat.
Like on steroids.
So she got it from working with kids, and there were like 3 nights in a row where it was just like there was no sleep to be had, and it was difficult. But one of the things that I've learned that I think is kind of interesting is that strep throat has a natural life of like, I think it was 3 to 7 days, but most likely it's 3 to 4 days. And so when you go to the doctor's office and get antibiotics, you come home and you start feeling better almost immediately. And usually that's because the strep throat's ready to be done already. And so the other thing is, from what I understand, the antibiotics keep you from getting really good immunity to the strep throat. So people that get strep throat and then go to the doctor immediately tend to get it again, allegedly. This is just what I read on the internet, so I don't know. But people who've gotten over it by toughing it out tend to get it a lot less often. And so that's what we did, is Hannah toughed it out. We got some NyQuil and just, she's feeling better today, and we'll see what happens. But
well, so I've always been, and I don't think I've ever actually had strep throat. Like I've had a sort, and because I've had people tell me, oh, I have strep throat, and they like feel and sound and look like they really feel bad. And I'm like, I don't think you need to go to the hospital for sore throat. There's a difference between, I think there's a difference between what I've had and what I think of as maybe strep throat, because I think I just had a sore throat, which sucks. There's nothing like, you don't realize how nice it is when you can breathe easily until all of a sudden you can't. And when your nostrils are locked up and everything. Yeah. But that is interesting, because I would just think you don't go to the doctor, but that is interesting that you instantly are going to start feeling better, because that's just the shelf life. And then because by the time you go to the doctor, you've had a sore throat for 2 days, and then you get your antibiotics, you go see the doctor, you get home, you have dinner, you go to sleep, and by the time you wake up, you're generally going to be getting over it, regardless of whether you went to the doctor or not. So, all in all, sounds like a worse. Just strep throat just sucks. I don't really want to. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Well, I'm more curious about, did that really work, LJ? Did you just say, hey, Hannah, you just got to tough this out, don't go to the doctor, and it's going to be better?
Her idea. I don't know how long this marriage is going to last. If that's,
I don't know.
It was her idea. It was her idea.
Maybe you just got to man up and tough it out. I might get a kick in the groin or something. I don't know.
Well, if I said man up, no kidding. But
okay, so the man up's my problem.
Yeah, that's it. All right. No. That was her call. And she seems to be better for it, because she doesn't want to go through it because she gets it like every year and a half, something like that. So, she's tired of it. And so
it seems like people that get strep throat do tend to get it over and over again. And it's I think most people I know that get strep throat do go to the hospital. So I think there's some legs to what you're coming up with.
I've been around her this whole week with no issue. I think that there's a possibility that I got strep throat back in like 1st or 2nd grades, and old mom and old pops were like, we'll see what happens.
Tough it out, just tough it out,
LJ. and here we are. Now I can't. I wouldn't say immune to strep throat, but I'm feeling pretty confident.
Knock on some wood, Al.
Yeah, but I'm feeling pretty confident. So
I want to go ahead and let's just jump. It was last week, but finally I think we got an end to, at least for now, the Kawhi Leonard saga. And
good.
And we might get a little bit of LJ just complaining about the NBA, but the Spurs traded, and they did it, of course, in only a Spurs fashion. The news started breaking at like 2 a.m, not like good news time. So like all these, I was watching journalists just cry. There's a few things that journalists whine about on Twitter, and it's like either the food in the press box isn't good, or there's not like warm coffee, or the news broke in the middle of the night. Like, it's funny hearing journalists whine. They whine about very small things.
Don't you think Pop did that on purpose? I mean, he did that on purpose.
Well, maybe
old Kawhi did that on purpose.
The trade is and it's funny, a week before it happened, Vegas changed the odds of the Raptors as the top team to land, the most likely team to land the Spurs, or land Kawhi Leonard. And I swear, and they did the same thing with LeBron. Vegas they knew the LeBron before it happened. They knew Leonard before it happened. But anyway, I digress. The Spurs traded him to the Raptors for, I think it was Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard, for DeMar DeRozan, Jacob Poeltl, who's a decent center, and a 2019 protected first-round pick. It'll probably end up being out of the lottery. But just in general, Kawhi Leonard wanted to go to LA, and now he's in Toronto. So did Pop kind of have some of this? Like, he kind of was like, all right, screw you. Here's where you're going to go. You're not going to go.
Well, yeah, I think definitely he did. He was like, okay, I'll send you where you want to go. How about another country? That's where I'm going to send you.
How about get your passport?
You got
and
a
your
visa,
ready?
son.
So where did he grow up? In L.A. in Southern California? I'm going to send you to Toronto, Canada. How about that, buddy? Yeah, I think
Same
that was a
thing.
little get back.
Toronto.
I think that was some
Canada's
get back.
L.A.
And by the way, Toronto, from all I've heard, is a hell of a city.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No, I've heard it's one
it.
of the best places to live. And
In the
to
summertime, of course, I want to go see it. But I've heard it's a great
And that's what's
city.
also funny about it is reportedly, like, Kawhi Leonard hates the cold. He went to, so the All-Star game was in Toronto like 2 years ago, and like a Spurs journalist was there, and they're like, I tried to see how Kawhi Leonard was kind of enjoying the All-Star game. He never left his hotel room except for the game because he couldn't stand the snow and all the cold weather, and now he's living in it. But I do think that the Spurs, I don't think they did it to get back at Kawhi. I think this was Pop, just this is the best deal that he could get. The Lakers got to the point where they went, screw y'all. We're not giving you Brandon Ingram because we think Kawhi Leonard's going to come. We saw him do it with Paul George. It would be great just because Laker fans are like, oh, we went through such a hard time and now we're finally got LeBron. They went through like 3 years of they're not winning championships. And then it would be great if they ended up, they didn't trade for Paul George when he was at Indiana because they just assumed, he'll come to LA. And then Kawhi Leonard, they don't trade for him because they just assume he's going to come to LA as a free agent. And if he were to end up falling in love with the team in Toronto and not coming to LA, it would tickle me pink. I'd love it.
Well, and let me just say, this just in, but DeMar DeRozan is no cupcake. I mean, he is a hell of a ball player. I looked up their size. Do you know DeMar DeRozan is 6'7", 220, a shooting guard. Kawhi Leonard, 6'7", 230, a three, small forward.
DeMar DeRozan's not a bad player. He's under he's a 3-year, $89 million contract. With the way the contracts are going in the NBA, that's a relatively good contract for a perennial all-star. And it was interesting. We kind of talked about it last week about how fans seem to take the owner side too often. And we can trade, like DeMar DeRozan made a point that apparently a week before the trade, he was talking to the GM of the Raptors at Summer League because his name has been in some trade talks. And he asked straight up, he was just like, are y'all looking to trade me? What's the future? What do y'all think? And he was told, we have no intention to trade you. We want to build around you. A week later, they ship him off. It seems funny that we get onto the players about holding out of a contract or something when they can be traded or cut at any time. It was whatever the Raptors felt were best for them. And what do you think, Dad, about the Raptors doing this where it seems like from all reports are that Kawhi Leonard has no interest in signing a long-term deal, and it was reported that it'd be a hard sell to get him to sign an extension. What do you think about the Raptors giving up on an all-star, their franchise leading scorer for a guy who may be there for a year?
Just for a year, that is odd to me. But this is the same team, right, that won the East. Were they not the number one seed in the East this year and fired their coach?
They were the number one seed in the
right?
East. They didn't win the East because LeBron James owns Toronto.
I understand that, but they're the number one seed in the East, best record in the East, and they fired their head coach. That's all correct?
Yes, that is correct. And LeBron James is no longer in the East any longer.
I don't know. I mean, I really kind of thought there was going to be some deal where maybe Toronto's got something cooked up with LA that they could make some trades for. I don't know that this is completely done yet because LA should give up a little more because Kawhi wants to be in LA, probably almost assuredly will re-sign. They've got more to gain. I just don't think the deal.
But why should they give up? Why should they give up more if he's saying he'll sign there as a free agent? They don't have to give up anything. They can keep all their young players and just wait a year.
Fair point. You're right.
And maybe they don't.
Well, but now LeBron's not getting any younger. I mean, you can say whatever. He's got a lot of miles on those legs, and I know he's 33, but he's 15 years in the league. I'm just telling you, he needs to. He's got. I don't know. I wonder how long LeBron's got. I think he's got 2 or 3 years still at a super supreme level, and he might have 5 or 6 at a very good level. But he has got a lot of miles on him, Kev. I mean, I
want to say this, and then I'm going to give it to LJ because I know LJ has some thoughts that he wants to get. He's biting his tongue here, but I like the deal from the Raptors' point of view because I think from all intents and purposes they were looking to blow it up. They kind of felt like they've reached their ceiling as they're a good regular season team, but for whatever reason, they can't get it done in the playoffs. And I kind of think maybe you play out 1 year without LeBron in the East and you see what you can do. But they kind of wanted to blow it up. They're not trading Kyle Lowry because he's an aging point guard who's losing his athleticism, and his contract is not like DeRozan. They just signed him to a big extension. So it's pretty hard to trade him. And I think you get Leonard maybe you talk Leonard into staying. Who knows? We did just see it with Paul George, and all it took for Paul George was a good Nas concert. They got Drake up in Toronto, so I mean, who knows? And if he decides that if at All-Star break they kind of start to realize Kawhi Leonard, it's not working out, whatever, Kawhi Leonard, then you go to the Lakers and say, all right, what can we get from you? You can go ahead and have him right now. Maybe they don't get Brandon Ingram, but they can get Kuzma or something. They can still trade him. They could, like you said, it might not be done. So their options
I
are.
think it's done.
I think they were going to blow it up anyway, and I think this was just them speeding up the process. And maybe, just maybe, Kawhi Leonard, who is maybe the third best player in the NBA, decides to sign long term with them. It's possible. We did just see it with Paul George. But LJ, what do you think about the NBA just always in the news?
I think if your offseason is more interesting than your championship, then you've got something wrong. I think that every move in the offseason is breaking news because there's only 10 players in the NBA that matter. It's just, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about where LeBron's going to go for 4 weeks and then he lands somewhere and then it's bigger news than whether or not, J.R. Smith knows what the score is. Like the game is not important anymore.
Speaking of J.R. Smith, yesterday, he finally, he put like an Instagram post that said all it said was thanks bro to LeBron James. And it was like a homage to LeBron. And I was wondering, he just now sent it. It could have been kind of like the finals where he just kind of lost track of time. And maybe that's why he just now sent it. But you say it's bad. You think it's bad for the sport that the offseason is more interesting than the regular season. Totally. But at least it's good to be in the news at all times. I think if you're Adam Silver, you like that you're always in the news. The NFL, they're in the news in their offseason, but it's because LaShawn McCoy reportedly may have beaten his girlfriend, or there's worse things to be in the news in your offseason about than star players being traded.
Absolutely, but nobody cares about the national championship anymore because it's LeBron versus the Warriors every year. And this year it's not going to be the national championship that way or the NBA finals that way, but it's still going to be, that's what's going to nobody's going to care about anything leading up to that moment because now that's what the West comes down to. And it's just so the casual fan is not going to get interested because all we want to talk about is, well, he's got this much left in his contract and with the max contract that leaves. And we don't care about how points are scored. That's not important because there are 10 people that can do it. And all that matters is whether you get those 10 people.
I do agree. I think there is something to be said where maybe the Rockets and Warriors can win the West. And then it doesn't matter who wins the East. I think either one of those teams beat them. I mean, I get what you're saying. We can fast forward for the past 4 years. It's literally been just go ahead and fast forward to the Cavs Warriors and the finals. But I don't like that we're more worried about, we got our season coming up this year and we're more worried about, well, Kawhi's going to be a free agent in 2019 and so will Klay Thompson and maybe
that's what the NBA has been for years now.
And I get where you're going.
Since then, that's all the NBA has been.
So are you blaming LeBron for the death of competition in the NBA?
Oh, no, I think he's blaming KD. I think you're blaming KD for going and making super teams, right?
Well, no, I think I'm blaming super team. That conversation that Kevin had a few weeks back where it was LeBron realized he could do the thing he wanted to do since he was a kid. And then he did it. Yeah, then everybody was like, oh, okay. And then that's what ruined the NBA. Yeah, totally.
But the NBA's always been this. Yeah. The NBA's always been this. It was the Lakers versus Celtics, and then it was the Bulls for 6 out of 8 years. I mean, the Lakers. Yeah, but it wasn't
super teams. You still had something to root for if you were in Milwaukee, And now it's let's root for a loss.
What did you have to root for? You weren't going to win the championship.
I don't. Well, you still had a better chance.
I got to take some umbrage with you.
Okay.
Because wait, time out. Because you're right, Kevin. It used to be when I was growing up, it was Boston, L.A., and Philly. I mean, that was it. Philly and Boston played in the East. Who played the Lakers in the West, and they played each other every year. And I think there's been some. I have to look it up, but I know there was a story where dynastic teams actually bring more viewers. Because you either love them or you hate them. We
talk crap about the Cavs Warriors. The ratings for that was unbelievable. Every year it kept getting better. Even when we knew the Warriors were going to beat them, we still watched it.
I think people are going to start getting turned off on the NBA because it is literally just a sport about watching contracts run out. That's what the sport is. That's what the most exciting thing that happens in the NBA.
I get where you're going with that. We look too much forward to Monopoly. Free agency and when do your and now these players and Bill Simmons does his pre-agency thing and now players are like 1 year left. I'm going to demand a trade or complain. I do get that, but it's not new. This isn't a new problem. I think
okay, well, it's still
going,
a problem. It's gotten worse because
it's gotten worse, but the NBA is thriving right now. They keep making
the NBA is
money
being
hand
talked
over
about
fist.
365. You're talking about the NBA 365 days a year. That cannot
Well, come
be a
talk to
bad
me in
thing.
3 years if this keeps going like it is. Talk to me in 3 years.
I think you could be right. I want to see that.
Name one sport that you'd rather
the
have.
Titanic was the biggest ship on the ocean, but that didn't mean it was unsinkable.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
We'll move on. We'll move on right now. But I just name me a sport you'd rather have as your sport. Would you rather be the NBA or the NFL
Anything,
or the MLB?
Fucking snooker.
You're full of shit.
Oh, Lord.
Speaking of other leagues, let's get on. I wanted to bring up that. Did you see? It seemed like when MLB is trying to celebrate their game for All-Star Week last week, which, by the way, did anyone know that was coming? I mean, all of a sudden it was like, hey,
I got a notification about the Home Run Derby, and that was it. Yeah.
You know when I heard about the Home Run Derby? The morning after I heard about the Home Run Derby. I mean, come on.
The
All-Star game was this weekend. Really? I'll be damned.
So the commissioner called out Mike Trout, who may be statistically, he might be the best player, if not playing now. He's maybe on track to be the best player in the game ever. And the commissioner came out, and the problem with Mike Trout is, if there is a Trout problem, it's like I would say, I would say that y'all, LJ, you're not a baseball fan. Dad, you're not crazy. Neither am I, but at least I kind of keep up with it. And I don't know. I think I would, but I'm not 100% sure if I was walking around the Fort Smith Mall and Mike Trout walked by me, if I would know right then and there, hey, that's Mike Trout, the reigning MVP of the AL. And I don't know if it's a baseball has a problem advertising, or Mike Trout, or the commissioner, Rod Manfred, said that Mike Trout could be a bigger star if he did a better job of marketing himself, and that it's not a baseball problem. It's Mike Trout's not trying to market himself. And I want to know your thoughts of, well, you could market. You don't think like LeBron James does a pretty good job of marketing himself?
Yeah.
I don't know. What does Mike Trout have a Twitter account? Does he have followers? I mean,
I'm sure he does.
It depends on if advertisers want you. If you get out there, I don't think it's a Trout problem. Well, I mean, it's an MLB problem because we didn't even know the All-Star game was going on. Come on,
Bryce. So if Bryce Harper walked by you, you would know who he is.
Probably
just because he has the nice hair and he's on GQ.
I'd know 3 or 4 Cubs. I'd know 3 or 4 Cubs, and I'd know Michael Wacha, and that's it.
But if we didn't know the All-Star game was this past weekend and the Home Run Derby was it was on a Tuesday night or something, wasn't it, or whatever?
Well,
if we didn't know that, that's not Mike Trout's problem. Okay,
true that.
That's MLB problem.
That's what I agree. At first, I kind of thought, well, maybe Mike Trout should do more, but I agree. If the casual fan didn't realize the Home Run Derby was on until it was on, then I think that's an MLB thing, not a Trout thing. Trout's just doing his job of being a great baseball player. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to point out something that we didn't know that was going on, because baseball's getting too inside, and they only advertise to people that watch MLB TV. And so the only people that are fans of baseball are people that were already fans of baseball. They're not getting new fans. And they were on top of the world at one point. And that reminds me of another sport that I just can't come up with it.
He's incorrigible, Kevin.
You're talking about the death of football? Or is that where, surely you're not talking about the NBA.
Football.
the league that's making money hand over fist. I mean, surely.
Yeah, you're right. Baseball was never making money hand over fist. That's totally different things. It is a league problem. I agree with everybody. It's a league problem.
Well, Derek Jeter was known as a guy that didn't really try to market himself, a real quiet guy, didn't talk a lot, but he was the biggest star in the game. What's the difference? Just that he wore pinstripes? Is it just that he was in New York?
The time, because Jeter wasn't expected to have a Twitter account. Jeter wasn't expected to. Shaquille O'Neal ruined it for everybody by being open to the fans, and now you kind of have to be to
but we
have
love
that same
that
sort of following. We love when they're open to the fans, yeah. And so if you're not somebody that just likes to spend your time on social media, on Instagram, on whatever, then I think that the average fan is just whatever. I can go watch, Eli Krause is showing up on podcasts, so I'd rather go watch him pitch than,
Shout out to Eli.
There you go.
All right. I wanted I didn't get to watch it, but I kind of started following up his story. The hefty lefty was in the news. Jared Lorenzen, the Pillsbury throw boy.
The Pillsbury throw boy.
So the E60 was, and I think, Dad, you may have a little more, and I kind of just want to toss to you, but basically he couldn't stop gaining weight. He couldn't stop eating. He's a talented.
Let me tell you what I know, and I haven't seen the documentary yet.
Former Kentucky quarterback, played in the NFL, played in the CFL. But go ahead.
So Jared Lorenzen currently is 6'4", 285. He's from Fort Thomas, Kentucky. He was a letterman in high school in football, basketball, and baseball. His junior year in high school, he passed for 2,700 yards, 37 TDs in 13 games. His junior year, that's pretty badass. His senior year, he passed for almost 3,400 yards, 45 TDs. He rushed for over 900 yards and had another 15 TDs. For those of us that are keeping counting, that's 60 TDs in his senior year of high school he was responsible for. His team went 15-0, and won the state championship.
Wow.
So some other things.
Do you have that?
Kentucky, Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
Then he went on to start as a freshman. He went on to the
university.
Right?
He went to the University as a redshirt freshman. He did redshirt his freshman year. And he was named the starter by Hal Mummy. I believe I'm saying his name right. Yeah. It's a name I know. He kind of had the air raid offense. He was one of the initial people that were just lighting up scoreboards and passing. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there were 2 head coaching changes. Hal Mummy got caught up in some possible NCAA sanctions. I don't remember the whole story, but Lorenzen had to go through two head coaching changes in high school. He signed as a free agent with the Giants in 2004, knocked around the league for about 4 years, got a Super Bowl ring when the Giants beat the Patriots back in Eli Manning. I believe it was that year. Did they beat him? Well, they beat him twice, so I can't tell you exactly which year it was.
But I think that's right.
But anyway, so he knocked around the NFL from 2004 to 2008. In 2011, he went to the Ultimate Indoor Football League and became the general manager of the North Kentucky River Monsters.
Nice.
But he resigned as the general manager to play quarterback for the team and was the league MVP. Okay.
And if you've seen video of when he was there, he was getting rather large. He was always big, but he was starting to get rather large.
I mean, like 320. And I mean, I'm not saying a muscular 320. He was a rotund, portly 320. But so quickly, I know I'm going on a little bit, but it's fascinating. After that, he was named the commissioner of the UIFL, which is the United Indoor Football League, which he quit to play quarterback in the Continental Indoor Football League, okay? Because the guy loved sports. He was an amazing athlete. And we're going to get to this. He couldn't quit eating. He was an amazing athlete.
And just
but he finally quit because he went back to the after the Continental Football League, which folded due to financial reasons. He went back to the North Kentucky River Monsters and played well till he broke his leg in his second game, which effectively ended his playing career. And now he's got an online site, a website, which is called the Jared Lorenzen Project, which shows his battle against obesity. He was over 500 pounds when he started trying to lose weight. And I'm really dying to see it because I remember seeing him play at Kentucky. And I mean, it looks like the left tackle or right tackle.
But he could also fling it.
I mean, he was amazing. I mean, there's video.
Too.
He was nimble of foot.
Light on his loafers.
Light on his loafers, as some might say, and was an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
And he reminds me of a guy that I'm going to really throw back, but Oliver Miller, who played for the University of Arkansas in 1994.
Oh, we got history with Dad here.
When they won that title, and he just maybe that was before. Maybe he wasn't in 94. But anyway, Oliver Miller was an amazing player and couldn't quit eating, could not step away from the dinner table, and ruined his athletic career because he could not push away from the dinner table.
It's just wild. Lorenzen turned down. I mean, he probably would have had an NFL career. And if not, at least an NFL career, he would have played in one of these indoor football leagues, but he just couldn't quit eating.
Yeah. He couldn't quit eating. He couldn't push away from the table. And I really want to watch this show. I think he's a good guy. He obviously loved football. He tried to play most of his life. He just was too big. And I think the reason he broke his leg, his bones and his joints couldn't handle the stress that he was putting on them.
It's just wild that someone can look at you and go, look, if you can just get in shape, you can make millions of dollars. Like you can play football for a living. You can play the game you love and get paid to do it. And it's a mindset. I don't know. I don't think you can't put yourself in those shoes unless you suffer from the same problem. I don't know.
Right. Because I think food is addictive. It's the same as telling Josh Gordon,
is.
like, hey, just stop, just chill out for, a few
Just quit
weekends in a
smoking
row.
weed. But
as Stephen A. Smith would say, just lay off the weed.
But that's not easy to do. That's easy to do if you're not addicted.
Yeah.
And, some people are addicted, and that's just.
I truly believe that food can be as addicting as alcohol or drugs or anything else.
I agree.
And I truly believe the abuse or overuse of some drugs and alcohol, that over abuse of food is just as bad. It's the exact.
It's a little
same
bit more
thing.
long term usually, but yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. That's always been interesting to me too, because I feel like I'm the type of person that would maybe be more likely to be addicted to food. Like I eat a lot more than I ought to. I like to finish a plate.
I can't help but finish a plate.
It is. Food is one of the ways that I like to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that growing up, Dad, maybe you feel differently, but it's always seemed like to me that you kind of use food more as fuel than as I don't know how to exactly put it, but would you say that you see food more as fuel than say a reward or a way to?
Well, I think he
deal with things, or
I want to. So what does it live to eat? Eat to live, don't live to eat. And I would counter that, LJ. I think I don't. I think I see food as a reward for some reason, and I wished I didn't. I wished I did see it just as a fuel. And it's funny, Tammy's remarked about that because I always clean my plate. And I've been around people that typically are slim or in good shape, and they when they're hungry, they are hungry and they need food now. But when they're full, I don't care if they've had 2 bites of a hamburger. It's going in the trash. I can't throw a hamburger in the trash. As a matter of fact, I want to finish Hank's hamburger, that he didn't finish.
Right.
And
if
I
there's
think
still
that's
a piece
an
of pizza
unhealthy
left,
relationship with food.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Totally.
I mean, if I go out to the restaurant, if I go out to eat and order something like my entree or whatever, if there's still food, I'm done when the plate's empty. I'm not done when I'm full, and I'll know I'm full.
But the worst thing is
there's still some steak left.
I love good leftovers. I wish I could just stop because I love good leftovers.
Because it can be a good meal
the
for
best
lunch
ever. Yeah. Oh man, but
and before we get off this, I can tell you what's interesting about me is that it's almost better if I just don't eat. It's almost better if I fast, because sometimes if I start eating, it's like a feeding frenzy. Then it's like kind of what we talked about, Kevin, a little bit. It's like, I've already blown today. I might as well eat the whole damn cupboard, and it's just weird. It's almost better for me not to eat than to start at all.
Yeah.
By the way, quick story. We've got part of our new company that took over. They got free ice cream. You can have free ice cream every day at our office. Do you know how many ice creams I've had so far? 0. Because if I ever start,
you know it's there. Yeah.
I am toast. It's done. So, it's
Hannah's got me on this thing. If I'm not hungry enough for an apple, I'm not hungry enough for a snack. And that has worked wonders for me. That has been huge, and not just starting and then emptying the cupboard afterwards.
Yeah. Well, you brought it up earlier, Dad, and we're going to take a hard turn here. But at the ESPYs, that moment when the victims of Larry Nassar, who was the Olympic doctor and sexually abused multiple young children, and they reportedly tried to tell people about it, and people just kind of kept pushing it under the rug and trying to take Larry Nassar's word for it. And it's a hard story, but it was really cool to see Aly Raisman get up on the stage and she told people, look, stand up. I don't care if people aren't listening to you. Keep going. We can be powerless. You're not powerless. And it was really cool to see. I want to know, you had an interesting, both of y'all did a thought when y'all were talking about what y'all thought when y'all saw that.
I know I saw it on a replay. I didn't get to watch it live, but I was extremely impressed with the 3 ladies that stood up and spoke in front. And I don't know the other 2 young ladies' names. One, Aly Raisman is very easy on the eyes. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. She's a beautiful woman. But she's very well spoken, and I thought her words were strong. But what what to me is what got to me is I thought, I wonder if Larry Nassar's watching this and seeing that the ESPY Awards did something that's never been done before and awarded the Arthur Ashe Courage Award to 141 women. Now, I don't know if all 141 were abused by Nassar. Is that
they were?
I believe they were all.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were.
So I wonder, is Nassar sitting there from his jail cell? Does he get a TV? Can he watch that? And how does he feel? Does he even get that he did anything wrong?
I hope so.
Is he devastated? I mean, I just cannot comprehend a mind that would do that. That is a mind that's not well to begin with.
Well, that's the truth is like someone with a mind like that'll let them do this to 141 young girls is probably sitting there thinking something along the lines of like, see, without me, they wouldn't be up here right now. And like, taking credit for their strength or something like that. But yeah, I do hope that he doesn't have TV privileges in his cell, but for this one night they gave it to him. And he got to watch that and just broke down. That's what I hope happened. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. He's a sick person. So it's hard to know.
I don't understand that because I can see gymnasts and they're cute girls. I mean, there's no doubt. But I mean, I don't want to. I just have no desire to do anything that he did, and I just cannot comprehend. It's a sick mind. I don't know if it's a chemical imbalance. I don't know if it's evil incarnate. I don't know what it is, but. Yeah. There's something wrong with the person that does that.
I think it goes a little, people notice it, but just how tough it must be not to admit publicly that yes, someone abused me when I was younger, because you almost feel like you let it happen, even though they didn't. I'm not saying they did, but just to admit that this happened to you, not only would it be hard to do that, but to stand up on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, on the biggest, their yearly award show and say, yes, this happened to me, but they're doing it because they're trying to show other people who are maybe scared to come out and say something. It's so powerful. I mean, it really, it hit me really hard. It was cool. It was a good moment.
Well, and can you imagine? I bet those girls, as they begin bringing that up, like I can see maybe, let's just use Allie Raceman as an example. Maybe she gets home and she goes, Mom, I was a little uncomfortable about what Dr. Nassar did today. And I'm sure Mom probably goes, oh, come on now, and I'm not trying to put words in her mom's mouth, but I bet she probably tried to tell an adult.
She doesn't even know what that is. She just thought it felt.
She doesn't even know what it is. She doesn't even know what he's doing, but she knows she was uncomfortable about it. And the adults probably in her life, her assistant coaches or whatever, are just saying, honey, he's got to examine you. And he's,
sometimes so the doctor's office is uncomfortable, and
And so the courage, I'm with you, the courage of these people to stand up and do that hopefully will give other young ladies courage to not let this happen and stop it before it gets to this level. Yeah. Good for them. I was proud of what the
doing
ESPYs
that.
Did.
Good for them standing up. And I agree with LJ. I hope if Nassar doesn't have TV privileges, I hope he did last Monday night and he watched that. I hope so. Hard turn here, but I'm watching a show right now on Netflix, and it's dragging on a little bit, and I'm on like season 5 now. And at this point, I've seasons 1 through 3, I really got into it. 4 was good, but 5, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of losing it, but now I've watched this many and there's 6 seasons. I got to finish it. What? Yeah. What do you? And we talked about how Arrested Development. It was a few weeks back, but you talked about how it just ended abruptly on you, and it left you wanting more. Yeah. I was going to ask you guys, what would you rather your show do? Would you rather your show end with you wanting more, and you think there should be another season, or go too long and maybe you got more than you needed?
That's easy to me. I'd rather have a show end too early. 100% of the time.
But it sucks. It sucks when you like Arrested Development where you need that next episode. You want to go to the next episode.
Yeah, but what's worse than that is like if they would have had 3 more seasons of The Wire, and then you're like, yeah, The Wire was good until I just stopped caring about it. But now it's like one of the greatest shows to ever have been written. I just think going too long is there are very few shows that can do it. And so I'd rather have the 2 years and out. And then even to go further on that, I think if I'm like the Duffer Brothers making Stranger Things, I hand that off to somebody else and come up with my next 2-year idea, because there's no money in finishing shows. There's only money in starting shows. So
what do you, we still want to watch the end of Stranger Things though. So what do you mean?
Yeah, but if it's garbage next year, then they've already got their money and they've already got their reputation and the world just moves on. Season 3 sucked. Moving on. No big deal.
It does
because
seem
there's so many
like
shows. It's easy to forget.
It does seem like Netflix
terrible.
is interested in. I know they want to keep putting out original content like Netflix originals, but it seems like they're totally fine with let's put out Ozark for a season and Stranger Things for a season and this for like you don't have to. And I think you mentioned this, but they're almost don't. I don't need you to have an ending with it. Just pitch me a good idea and we'll figure out if there's how we'll do the ending later. But and I don't.
Well, and we're about to see like the biggest example of what happens when you do that with Game of Thrones coming out next summer, where the ending's unwritten. And they've done the whole show up until about 2 years ago with source material. And, over the last 2 years, people have been kind of saying, well, it's not what it used to be. And so we'll see what happens with that. I think that might be the example of a show that goes on too long. But, there was allegedly supposed to be an ending by now. So they should have had something to work with. I don't know. It's just that's an interesting case study, I think.
Yeah, I agree because Game of Thrones is one of those. Dad, what are you on with LJ? You'd rather it end?
I'm absolutely with LJ on that because I think the best movies I've ever seen are those movies that end and you're just like, oh, I want more. Those are the best movies. Those are the movies you remember. And I can I can explicitly look at a series that, Cuz told me to watch, Cuz Lincoln and Holly, and I watched Bloodlines, and I believe it was a Netflix. And I'm telling you, maybe it was 3 seasons or 4. Let's say it was 4. I can't remember, but the first 3 seasons were amazing, and the fourth it just died a slow death, and it should have just ended after 4. Now, one other thing I want to say about this, I think that there could be some people that maybe see a good series, maybe The Wire's one, and it seems like I've heard there was a season in there that wasn't as good as the others. But if you can save a strong season, I haven't seen it, and I'm thinking about trying to watch it, but I'm thinking you put a season in there that's just so-so and then followed up with that final strong season, you could stretch and get more mileage out of that,
so like say if
sluggish season.
If Game of Thrones had a mediocre season, but then they came back with a fantastic season to end it, you could kind of...
I think that is exactly what may have happened. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones, and I'm in season 5 now, and season 3 and 4 were amazing. 5 so far is really good, but I remember 7, I believe, or 6 ended. I think 7 will be their final season, and whatever the season, but whatever that penultimate season was so-so. I mean, and I think like you alluded to, LJ, they were past George R.R. Martin's writing. They're doing their own thing, and you can tell the quality is not there. Now, I hope they finish up strong, and I will be there in front of the TV every time it's on. I can't wait because I think Game of Thrones is amazing television, like Breaking Bad, like we've talked, was amazing series television, but you can go on too long. So if my vote, stop too early instead of go too long.
I think if you try to put yourself in the position of a showrunner and of a producer, and you think, which reputation do you want to have? Do you want people to be saying, man, I loved the first 3 seasons of Arrested Development, or let's say The Wire. I loved The Wire. I just wish they would have had one more season. Or would you rather them be saying, well, Dexter's good, just stop watching after season 4. Or Scrubs is another example of that, where it's like, oh, Scrubs is my favorite show until you get to the end of it. Like that. Yeah. You always have to put that little asterisk on it. And as a showrunner, that would be just heartbreaking to me.
Yeah,
I hate it when a show gets to the point where it's like you can tell they're just filling episodes where there's like 5-minute gaps where they just play a song and they're trying to show people's emotion. And I get that that's good to do in shows, but like it's like it reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, where it'd be like it took 30 minutes to just have that one little thing. They just were putting filler episodes to get to the next episode. They weren't really trying to. Like when Game of Thrones at its best, it just is always happening. There's always something going on, and I can't even barely keep up, and it's so fun. And then when it starts getting slow and drags on, I don't want to ever. If I ever look at my phone when I'm watching the show, kind of go, how much longer does this episode have? That's when you've lost it, probably.
I think the show that most exemplifies what you were talking about a second ago with the filler crap. Bones is 80% filler crap in every episode.
Yeah.
If you've ever watched Bones, that show is just nothing. There's nothing going on except for like they're masking the fact that they don't know how to write by having these montages every 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, and a lot of those type of shows will do that. The CSIs will do that at times. You'll notice there starts to just be 20 minutes where they didn't really know how to fill out this whole show. But I was going to ask you guys, if I had to tell you to choose one, you can choose movies or you can choose music. Which one?
That I'm
like you're
into,
giving up one.
that I'm
You're giving up
creating,
one.
that
You
I'm
won't.
watching?
You won't ever like watching and consuming. You can have all your music, but you never can watch another movie, or you can watch all your movies, but you never listen to music again.
But TV's good either way.
I kind of was gonna. I wasn't sure if I could add both to it because now I don't know. I felt like I was adding a lot if I say shows.
Well, I think if I can still watch TV, then I'd get rid of movies. I mean, I'm gonna miss movies, but we're in the golden age of TV right now, and they're basically 10-hour movies. So, I'm okay with.
The problem with series,
if I had to choose between those two,
the problem with series is you get like a movie. I can sit down. If a movie's bad, I wasted 2 hours or something. If a show ends up being bad, like we're talking about, if season 5 and 6 are bad, I've already spent 4 seasons. I've watched all this. I got to finish it.
You're invested.
Yeah, you've invested so much time. At least a seat like with music. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I give up movies and I'd rather have music. I think music's just a better.
Well, let me answer that, because at one time I'd asked this question: is if you had to give up your sight or your ears, your vision or your hearing, which one would you give up? And that was a tough question for me, because I think we all have a love for music. I mean, we love music, and I think I lean towards I would give up my sight, I think, before I'd give up my ability to hear music. And I asked a few people, and one in particular, and it was Bob's dad. He was like, F a bunch of music. I want to see, and I mean, I get that. I mean, to give up your vision, I can't imagine giving up either one. That would be horrible. Yeah. But I have a love affair with music, and it can take me to a place. It can get me emotional. It can make me angry. It can make me happy. Movies are incredible. A well-done movie is amazing. But
if you give up your vision, you're giving up movies and books too. I mean, you're giving them.
Well, right. And that would be tough, but I don't read that many books anymore. Unfortunately, I don't find the time, but I would have a hard time saying I could give up music. I love music in a very uncommon way. It's a special thing to me.
So there is kind of a paradox in this, that like in movies, there's music is such a heavy part of it.
Yeah.
So there's not really any way to reconcile that aspect of it. Like that, I guess maybe breaks the question, because like if I said, okay, I guess I'm done with music, then I would watch like the beginning to Girl with a Dragon Tattoo like 6 times a day, because it's just a badass song and intro.
Speaking of oh my God, yes, the intro. That is one of the best movies ever. Real quick digression, but this came up the other night. So do y'all remember, y'all were here on Christmas one time, and you left, it was, whatever, you had to leave Christmas Day.
Day, and you watched that movie.
You left on Christmas Day, and it kind of started snowing after you left, and it's like 9 a.m. I'm here by myself, and I turn on Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And what is it? Is it the Viking song? I can't remember, that Trent Reznor does.
It's a Trent Reznor song.
It's a Led Zeppelin cover that Trent Reznor does. And the video that goes with the audio, I mean, I was so all in for whatever 2.5 hours. That movie blew my mind.
You put David Lynch and Trent Reznor together, and the rest of the movie is not going to matter, because that intro is going to be so stupid good. Like, that's just a rule.
Well, but Daniel Craig was so good in it. The girl, her speech at when she's meeting the business guy, and she's done the research. Oh, it's just, I'm gonna have to watch it again. That's one of the best. Is that a David Lynch produced movie? Is that what you're? Yeah. Who wrote that? It was a cover. That was a remake, wasn't it?
It's a book. It's a book that got made into a movie in Sweden. And I don't know the name of the writer or the director of the Swedish version, but it was a Swedish book, I believe, also. And it just got huge, and then they made this movie. So
incredible movie.
So I've been like getting gas a lot lately because I've been working out in the suburbs, and I've just been thinking about the fact that no other industry besides the gas industry sells their items based on how many thousandths of a dollar their thing is worth. And gas is the only thing that'll say that, like, the price. I was just at a place and the price was $2.99.9, right? And it was like. So it was $3. It's $3 for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm.
But they just do that because the 99 looks better, right? Because the 99.
Yeah, the $2.99 always looks better than $3. Yeah, $2.59 looks better than $2.60. $2.79 looks better than $2.80.
So are you asking why does the groceries at Walmart not say this
Yeah,
apple
not
is
use tenths of a cent.
147.9.
I mean, first off, I feel like it's a little bit. I don't know. It irks me. It turns me off a little bit because it's like you're getting away a penny and trying to say that you're tricking me. And then the other thing I think is like, well, why not take it a step further and be the only gas station that says we're actually $2.99 or we're $2.99 and 0.5 of a penny. Wouldn't that look better? You think more people would pull over?
Here's the thing. I don't know why it got started, but I can tell you that let's just say a company sells 400,000 gallons in a week. Let's just say that. So we're talking about 0.9 of a cent. So we're talking about $3,600 in a week.
Over
that 0.9 of a cent over a week, $3,600. Now multiply that times 52 weeks. I mean, you're talking big money. And I will tell you that in the gas business, what we deal with is if I can maybe make a deal with a supplier, it's for 1/4 of a cent or 1/2 a cent if we're really lucky. So all our money is in we talk about points. So 0.9 of a cent, and you said thousands, but really you're talking $2.99.9.
Thousandths of a dollar.
It's right. Okay, it's hundredths of a cent. So that's
tenths of a cent, right?
Tenths of a cent. That's tenths of a cent. So that's 90 points. And I'm telling each point in the volume, when you're talking millions of gallons, each point is a big deal. I had it figured at one time where each 1/10 of a cent could be $500 to $600 a week. Well, I mean, $500 to $600 a week adds up
for one store or for
But so
for a company. But you have companies out there that are doing 20 million gallons in a week. Well, now take 1/10 of 1% of 20 million. So 1% of 20 million is 2 million.
I'm about to say, you're getting above my pay grade in math.
Well, what I'm saying, it turns into big numbers because of the volume that you do, and gasoline it trades in huge volumes.
So if you're gonna sell to the consumers like that, I think one of the things that I'd love to see a study on then is like how much of a difference would it make in number of people at your store if you sold it for 0.7 of a cent instead of 0.9 of a cent? Like, would that? Do you think? I think that might intrigue me a little bit at least. Like, it wouldn't save me enough money to go out of my way necessarily, but if I don't know. I actually think if I saw a gas station that said 2.990, I would be like, let's call the news. Like, this is one of the good guy gas stations. Like, let's get everybody out here. They're the honest ones. And
so what about, so you got one station that says 2.990 and I'm going to be across the street going 2.989. I mean, and the 2.98's in big numbers, and that's what gets people's attention.
I'm saying, well, that's fair. And that is fair. It's just I feel like there is, and maybe it's like a millennial thing. There is kind of this like idea that like we should try to find the most outwardly seeming honest company, and support them more often than someone that is hiding behind details. And so I feel like there might be a big boon to that, but they're also, like you're saying, you might be losing 0.9 of a cent every single sale that you
every
make,
transaction. And
so if that doesn't add up with the amount of customers you bring in, it's totally not worth it. I just would love to see the study that decides whether, like, I would love to have like an experimental gas station where it is 0.0 and just see what happens. Like, just see if it makes up the difference,
I think basically what's going to happen is that company's going to lose 0.9 of a cent, which is almost a penny. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't know exactly why it started, but two things I want to say. One is like I said, when we purchase gas in big lots, we're trying to get 1/4 a cent or 1/10 of a cent off. If I buy so many gallons, will you give me 1/4 of a cent off, which is 0.0025? And so those points mean a lot. And secondly, something, and we talked about it in the last podcast, and I do think it's worth at least thinking about. We talked about don't ever vote for the billionaire owners. Always go for the player. Well, just because a guy's got $1 billion doesn't make him a bad guy. It does not make him a bad guy. And I just want to make sure that I think y'all agree with that. But I think when you say, why would you ever be on the side with the billionaire owners? They can still be on the right side. it's not. But just
They can be.
because
They're
you have
usually
money,
not.
well, maybe not. I think that.
Well, I
I'm
would
just
say
saying,
my
because
lifetime
somebody
NFL
has-
owners tend to be on the wrong side.
And I was with you guys on the rookie wage scale and who it really worked out for. I mean, I get that, but just because a guy's got money, a person has money, does not that doesn't equal scheming.
No, I think we're mainly just
agenda, ulterior motive
agreed.
person.
We meant
So-
mostly,
Agreed.
like,
And I don't
in
think
the
y'all
NFL,
mean that. I just
not
want to
necessarily
clarify
in
that.
life. You know,
Well, I think one of the
Well, the
one of the
NFL
things
is a
that you hear a lot
microcosm of
with-
life. I mean, come on.
Well,
we're
I
saying-
mean, it's a communist group, so it's totally different. But one of the things
It's
that
what?
you hear a lot, it's a communist group. One of the things you hear is that oh, stop your whining, you're a millionaire to the athletes, and so that's why the reaction of so then why are we rooting with Jerry Jones if like the idea is shut your mouth, you millionaire, you know? And so I think that's kind of my reaction to that, but also. Well, I lost it.
can I
lost it.
go ahead
Well,
and
no,
real
I think
quick?
your argument's fine.
Real
Yeah.
quick with what y'all, but for all the people that maybe don't get into Excel sheets and the ninth of a decimal like you two do, maybe they lost a little bit in there. Why do we? There's something. I do this at a gas station every time, and I have no idea why. I was talking to Labat about this a while back ago, and y'all just y'all are bringing up at the pump, and I'm thinking about it. But when I'm filling up, and it goes, all the way and it's done. Like my truck says I'm full, but it says it's 49.74 or whatever. Why in the hell do I try to get it to $50? I don't look at my bank statement and go, oh, good, that was $50 even. Like it doesn't change anything for me, but every time. And
I used to do that with
most people
tips
do
too.
it. Yeah.
I used to do that. Was my tips was always like make it end up a round number. And then I've since decided like who does that help? Because like they now have to carry pennies home, and who wants to do
But
that?
we do it. It's like a
And
weird.
I don't care.
It would not affect me
Well, okay.
either
Doesn't
way.
change my
Except for
bank
I sometimes pay 26 cents more because I want it to be around $19 or something for no reason.
But you still get to use that gas. So,
But here's
you still get to use it.
Guess what I do? I always round it off to the nearest gallon because I want to check my gas mileage. So y'all
See,
are
that's a
rounding
good
it to
reason.
the nearest
Well,
dollar.
yeah, at least you have a reason. I have
and
no
I round
reason.
Well, and actually, the reason that this came up to me, the reason I was thinking about it is I was getting gas and it was $2.99 thousandths of a cent, and or of a dollar, and so I was filling it up, and I actually thought, well, actually, I want 6 gallons is what I want, and or 2 gallons. I want 2 gallons. It ended up being exactly $6, and I was like, well, you are shorting me about 0.02 of a penny or whatever it is, and so it started getting me thinking like I'm losing small here, but I'm the one losing here is what's happening because it rounds the way to you.
I will tell you, this
Right?
is what is interesting. Yes, because, and I don't know if this is helping your argument or not, but so, okay, I'm a member of the cloud, right? I mean, I guess we all are now, but the iCloud, I didn't have enough memory space.
Stay away.
So for 99 cents, I can get another 10 gig of cloud or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to go through my pictures and delete. I'll just pay 99 cents a month. Well, oh my God, if 100,000 people do that, that's $99,000. And 100,000 people think like I do, and they're just going, oh, it's a buck a month. It's a buck a month. Yeah. That's $100,000 in Apple's pocket. And I don't blame them. For doing it, but it's just, it's the volume just that like you get. Everything counts. Yeah. So
I was listening to some I think they were like college age people or whatever, and they were talking about you made it when you want to watch a movie and you pay the $3.99 to rent it on Amazon or iTunes or whatever, and you don't even think about it. That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're really thinking, well, do I really need to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Probably. It'll be on Netflix eventually.
Oh my God! You want to know when I thought I'd made it? When I really thought I'd made it? I probably told y'all this before. I don't know if I told our listeners.
What is it?
But when I didn't have to go buy Keystone Light. If I wanted Corona Light, by God, I'm buying Corona Light. Is it a little more? Yeah, but I can afford it. That and the good toilet paper. When I could get the good toilet paper.
Well, see, no, I won't drink if I need my good toilet paper. If it's between beer and good toilet paper, sorry.
Then it's water.
Sorry, we're drinking Aquafina, and I'm getting a toilet paper with either a bear or a baby on it because I want my butt to be all right. But
Well, I do save the bad toilet paper for guests here at the house.
You have all that bad toilet paper that I'll go to your restaurant.
Dude,
like, why is this here?
pack. We bought one pack of bad toilet paper, and it's like it won't go away. It just will not.
This was the
away.
first time that I've come home and didn't throw away at least one roll of toilet paper because I was like, "Damn it, Dad! Why do you have this? I know you can afford better."
I don't know what happened.
All right, well, let's go. I'm kind of excited to get to what we're listening to this week because I don't know if it was one of you guys. Someone had to have shown me this artist, but I was driving through Arkansas, and I don't know if it's a Sprint problem or just driving through Arkansas, but I just have no service. So I had to go look and see. I was like, all right, I was at the gas station. I tried to go play something, and it wouldn't play. And I was like, all right, I just got to go through my offline music. And I was looking around, and this thing popped up, and it was a cool album cover, but have you ever heard of Petit Biscuit?
Sounds familiar.
I guess it's one artist, but it's kind of like a band. I don't know. There's a song called Sunset Lover, but he has an album called Petit Biscuit where it's 5 songs. It's like an EP, but it was super interesting. Someone had to have shown it to me because I had it saved offline. And I just thought it kind of
sounds familiar.
It seems like something you or Hannah would listen to, but that's what I'm listening to this week is Petit Biscuit. It's good stuff.
What was the name of the song?
Sunset Lover. Go give it a listen. It's good stuff.
Sons. I will.
I'm interested.
But just real quick shout out to you, LJ. I listened to 21 Chump Street. That was legit, man. I really liked that. I don't know if you've listened yet, Kevin, but that was you need to.
We did find video too. We found video,
really?
So it's better if you watch the video because you get to see the.
What was the link that you gave me for the show notes?
Musical.
Right, it's in the show notes with the video. Yeah.
Yep, it's in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Our website at jppod.com.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. What have you been listening to?
Okay, well, this is interesting. I can't tell you an artist, but I've been thinking about. I found a new station on Sirius XM. And I think it's very interesting how their radio names are basically becoming genres of music. And so Tammy and I are driving back from Chicago, and somehow I hit the button on her steering wheel where it goes to the next Sirius station in line, and it's Yacht Rock Radio. And it's really good. I mean, I really enjoy Yacht Rock Radio. And basically what it is, it about 20 years ago.
Duran.
Well, no, it's not Duran Duran. 20 years ago, it was called Adult Contemporary is what it was. That's what we used to call it. It's soft
Jason
rock.
Mraz
It's a lot of Steely Dan, Dan, Ambrosia, Little River Club, or Little River Band. I'm sorry, Little River Club is the place I belong. Little River Band, Time for a Cool Change. It's mellow.
Probably a little Duran Duran, I would think.
I've not heard Duran Duran on there yet, LJ. So,
okay. All right.
But so what I've been listening to lately, and think about it. Remember the buzz? The buzz means to me 90s kind of alternate rock. Pop Rocks now is out, which it's pop and alternate music from the 2000s and 1990s. So the joint is reggae music. Very fitting name.
Yeah,
very fitting name. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting how Lithium, by the way, which is 90s alt music, the Lithium is a little bit like the Buzz used to be. But sorry, long-winded. What I'm listening to is Yacht Rock Radio. Is what I'm.
Is that what it says on there? What was that?
Well, the guy says it like, "Are you ready for Yacht Rock?" I mean, he says it like if you're on a yacht, you've got that accent. I can't do the yacht accent. I mean, I do redneck bass fishing accent. But
I can tell we're getting towards the end of the
Rock
episode.
Bar Radio.
Man. Well, I'm just saying, Yacht Rock Radio.
The track is beginning to go off the rails here. LJ, what have you been listening to?
I haven't really listened to much music lately, so I'll throw out a couple podcasts that I've been into. So one of them is Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. He comes out with like one episode every like 3-4 years, something like that. And it came out this last week. He's doing an episode on Japan. And there are these like, if you're a history nerd, you must listen to this. But it is super intimidating because it's one guy and a microphone. And this is part 1 of Question Mark, and it's 4 hours long.
Jesus.
So it's a lot, but it is so enlightening. It's really good. He's really smart, really well read. Like it's really good. If you're into history at all, like listen to some, one of my favorite ones is, he did one over, the Khans in Mongolia, like Genghis Khan. and all those people. So it's just really good. And then the other podcast I just listened to today, it's called Everything is Alive. And so the premise is this guy interviews inanimate objects. And so like the episode I listened to, he interviewed an off-brand Coca-Cola.
Wait, what?
And so they have actors play the thing or whatever.
Okay.
But they're like real
What's an
interviews.
off-brand Coca-Cola? Is that like an RC or?
Well,
what is
essentially,
that?
in
cola.
this story, it's go to cola. But
Okay.
the idea is like so they do real research and they give an actor research and say, hey, these are basically the questions I'm gonna ask. You come up with what you think the answer is gonna be. And then the actor goes away and then they meet and then they have a real interview and they talk about, factual things. It's really cool. It's worth a listen. It's weird. And then like, it's also like, it makes you think a lot because like this Coke can has a lot of the same thoughts that I have. It's interesting.
I am so
very cool.
confused right now.
Well, sorry.
All right, well, I think that we're getting. I wonder if maybe we got a little better this week. We'll see what the heckler thinks. It's just fun to say that we have a heckler. To me, it makes me feel like we've done something. But I think that's all for it this week. Do y'all have anything else?
No. Just keep listening.
Man, keep listening.
Bear with
I'm
us.
telling you,
Eventually, we'll get good one of these days.
we're getting there.
Subscribe and rate us, right? That's what I hear them always saying on podcasts. Give us a rating.
I would, yeah.
Rate us,
Well,
right?
rate us if you're going to rate us good. Don't rate us if it's going to be bad.
Yeah, if you're going to rate us bad, don't rate us.
If you have anything bad to say, you can just leave a comment on our Facebook post along with Bill. But if you're going to rate a 5 or, something high.
I think it was Phil, actually, but whatever,
Anyway, you can always find our show notes on our website at Just Press Play Pod. Or JPP Pod. You can find us on Facebook, or you can find us on Twitter at JPP Pod. Or you can find us on Twitter at JPP Podcast. So I think for this week, I'm signing off. Y'all got anything else? Throw it out.
Peace. Peace. I'm out.
Go number 11 FedEx.
Go number 11 FedEx. I've also been listening to some.
I love Denny Hamlin.
How does the guy say yacht rock, Dad? Say that one more time.
Oh, it's like so we're listening to Yacht Rock Radio.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, turn it on to Yacht Rock Radio. It's
boy,
it's cool, man. I don't know.
Somewhere
It's a good
between a
station.
Valley
I like
Girl
it.
and
You like
Richie
Steely
Rich's.
Dan, you're
Yeah.
gonna like it. Richie Rich. Oh God, there's a bunch of bad. These celebrities. Oh yeah.